mayor is here to speak on the ordinance we will be hearing while we are going through the ordinance committee, the solicitation ordinance. So,
thank you so much, Council. Thank you so much, Council President, members of the City Council. I know that Colonel Winquist also had requested an opportunity to speak on this ordinance 1216-02 as well. I know that Ms. Zanny is currently passing out some photographs which will be part of my testimony as well. But tonight I'm here to speak in support of this ordinance. Now, I understand the council members had heard testimony not only at the ordinance committee from many members of the public both in support and in opposition, as well as individuals that are here tonight testifying in opposition. But what I do know is that after thoughtful consideration of those concerns that were expressed previously, particularly with respect to some of the legal issues, it's my understanding that I know that Mr. Kirschenbaum, the council's city attorney, worked with our outside counsel, Mr. Sisto, to further strengthen the ordinance so that it would address many of the prior questions that had been raised. So I stand here tonight in support of those forthcoming amendments and would urge passage of the amended ordinance at the appropriate time after the appropriate publication of the amended ordinance, provided that the council passes those amendments. But I want to take a step back, because this is an issue that I've worked on from day one. When we were first sued by the ACLU well over a year ago for the original ordinance that even we agreed as a city was overly broad. But one of the things I want to clarify tonight, because unfortunately I didn't have an opportunity to come before the ordinance subcommittee, is this misconception that's been put out there and falsely spread that this ordinance is only about one thing, and that's homelessness. And that is absolutely not true. We've worked diligently and examined different approaches from across the country, and even reviewing that First Circuit case, and designed an ordinance that would protect the health and safety of not only the drivers and occupants of motor vehicles, but also all residents, visitors, and pedestrians on and in our city roadways. This ordinance was designed with, first and foremost, public safety in mind, with the goal of preventing and reducing the incidents of distracted driving caused by vehicle occupants seeking to receive and or pass any item from a vehicle to a pedestrian in the roadway, and also from pedestrians in the roadway to receive and or pass items to a vehicle occupant. And if you take a look at the data that we have presented to you in the past testimony as well as current testimony from many individuals, and particularly the photographs which I handed to you of an incident that I personally encountered back on December 19, 2016, you will see that this ordinance is designed to protect people from getting injured and having accidents in our already busy roadways, medians, and intersections. There are numerous examples of intersections throughout the city that have a high number of vehicle collisions or even single car accidents for the time period between January 1st, 2016 up to and including December 12, 2016. You all have that data. And I want to address one of the prior speakers, I think it was Ms. Holmgren, Susan Holmgren, for bringing to my attention and everyone's attention and proving up points that some of those intersections that are listed, there was a representative sample in that legislative intent, did include intersections where panhandlers are present. Because this ordinance wasn't designed with panhandling for, and attacking homeless or attacking any specific people. That exactly proved my point. It shows what those data points were driven to show is the busy intersections that we have, the dangers that lurk in intersections, the collisions that happen at these intersections, and the potential dangers that could happen to individuals that go into our roadways. And I want to also address one of the points that she had mentioned about Elmwood Avenue, and it seemed as if it was duplicative. Well, it's not duplicative. When you take a look at the data, Elmwood Avenue and say it was Park Avenue was one, but it's listed on 2 different occasions with 2 different data points about the number of accidents. Well, that is designed because of the direction of the vehicle that is traveling. So it's not duplicative. It is different, same intersection, but different lanes of travel, and that's how our data is recorded from our police department. But I also want to mention and thank Officer Davis for coming up. While he was testifying in opposition of it, he actually also further proved my point. We weren't trying to design to show a cause and effect between one versus the other, because that's not the point. But he did raise a very valid point, because we did not find any instances, at least within the data that we had over the past year, about fatalities. But thank you for pointing out the 5 fatalities that have happened on these intersections and roadways. That's further proof that there was a dangerous that happened. But also the second point about the medians. The medians that you talked about in the motor vehicles and the laws that are already in effect on the state road show that there are already restrictions from the state with respect to motor vehicle traffic, to pedestrians going to roadways, and that's one of the amendments that are going to be brought up before you tonight. But I want to focus on one of the busy intersections, and that's Park Avenue and Reservoir Avenue. Here, I've personally had 2 separate incidents with individuals in the roadways that have distracted myself. On one occasion in November of 2016, I was traveling northbound, heading towards Providence, in the middle lane of Reservoir Avenue, heading towards City Hall, and stopped at an intersection on Park Avenue, waiting on a red light. And out of the blue, I was startled by a loud banging on my passenger window. A male with a large bucket in his hand was using it to bang on my window to get my attention, to collect for whatever organization he was part of. I had no idea where he came from, and I was in the middle lane of that road. Fortunately, even though I was startled, I kept my foot on the brake. Well, what if I didn't? What if it was enough that it caused my vehicle to lurch forward or lurch up in a particular direction because of the startling that happened? Believe me, you might be sitting there laughing. I see some of you laughing. I've been in a situation where I've taken a life. You can laugh all you want, sir, but that is something that I live with every single day. I don't ever want that to happen to anyone. So please take my testimony seriously. But on a separate occasion, and this is the photos that are before you on December 19, 2016. I was traveling this time southbound on Reservoir Avenue, again near the Park Avenue intersection, and in the middle lane. And the series of 4 photos that are before you tonight shows the inherent danger of what transpired, the potential tragedy that this ordinance is designed to prevent. Photo 1, and they're marked on the back, there should be in sequential order, but photo 1 shows a male in an orange vest and a Santa hat soliciting in the middle of the roadway, walking northbound on Reservoir Avenue, trying to get the attention of drivers. Again, he is in the middle of a busy roadway. But if you see from the light is turning green at that moment. If you move to the second photo, this was just taken immediately after that same individual had gotten something, I couldn't tell what it was, from one of the vehicles in that middle lane. And he finally noticed that the light was turning green. But if you see in that second photo, all of the cars that were in front of me had already taken their foot off the brakes and were starting to drive southbound. And if you then take a look at photo number 3, and this is the dangerousness that I'm talking about. In photo number 3, that same male, noticing the traffic really moving, suddenly darts in front of a silver sedan, which, if you notice in that right travel lane, immediately adjacent to the sidewalk, is the one that's braking. He jammed on his brake, and fortunately, he didn't hit this individual. And photo 4 shows that individual finally getting to the sidewalk. These are the dangers that I'm actively talking about. And these photos fairly and accurately and truly represent what I saw on that day and what I'm trying to prevent. Because God help me, I don't want anyone to go through what I've been living through for all my life. And I know that I, along with some members of the council, have not only witnessed situations like this, but heard from other numerous constituents about many other dangerous situations on our roadways. This ordinance is simply a tool designed to prevent dangerous conditions in many busy roadways and intersections that are exacerbated by the presence of pedestrians that are engaging in acts that promote distracted driving. And I've heard many of you talk about, yes, there are other dangers that are out there. Other dangers that our legislature are also trying to stop. Because when you talk about vehicles, these are dangerous things that we have to be very careful and pay careful attention. And any type of distraction can lead to dangerous situations. And this ordinance is in no way designed to restrict speech, target any specific form of solicitation, or any specific person or group. Because what it does mean is, yes, and I heard from the MDA and I heard from President Coletta, because it addresses not only panhandlers, but the firefighters raising money for the Fill the Boot campaign, student athletes collecting for uniforms, worshipers in support of their religious organizations, every single one of these groups that are out there. Under this ordinance, this activity can still be done, but in safe areas, and most importantly, away from moving vehicles. All along, my goal has been to make sure that everyone in Cranston is safe, whether they're in a car or on foot. This ordinance and the forthcoming amendments was drafted with the Constitution in mind, and that's why we took into consideration everything that even the ACLU said. And I'm confident that we will withstand the legal challenge. You know, I want to take a moment to thank all the members of Congress. This isn't an easy decision. And for many of you, this is your first meeting. But it's a weighty one, it's an important one. And I urge you to pass this amended version when it comes up of 12-1602, because I believe personally that it is the right thing to do, and it provides a safe way for individuals to still get their message out and do what's needed. Thank you.